Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new Punisher related video. I want to talk about the future of the Punisher as a Disney Plus series, the rumours that have just come out, the current state of the comics for the Punisher and how that could impact a new TV series, and all this wealth of stuff. So let's get straight into this video. Okay, so if you've not visited the channel before, then welcome. One thing you must know about me is, above all else, I am a avid comic book reader. I've read comics for about 35 years. The Punisher has always been my #1 go-to favourite character, and I've supported him through the good, through the bad, and I've been there, and I've got every issue from Amazing Spider-Man 1 to 9, which is CGC graded for me, all the way to present, guest appearances, all that sort of stuff. I've done videos on them. I've shown my collection, not the guest appearance stuff, that will come, but the primary stuff, it's all there. So I want to talk about the Punisher. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I was going to make it part of my AJ Chats, which is a Saturday series that I do where I talk about something, a subject. I've recently done a Punisher related one this Saturday, just gone in fact. But the time felt right now to do this video. And the reason for that is because at a comic expo in the United States, Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire in the MCU Netflix series, is it MCU or is it MCU? Who knows? The nurse, this is, that the heroes go to, she has spilled the beans at a convention that Punisher, Frank Castle, is returning in possibly a Disney Plus series starring Jon Bernthal. So everyone's obviously happy about this. I'm happy to hear this news. Of course I am. It's the Punisher. Although Jon Bernthal, not my favourite rendition of the Punisher, but he was okay. I think he was better in the Daredevil season 2 than what we got in his own series, but I'm not going into that. So I want to talk about the fact that this series is possibly coming at a bad time, and the state of the comics and why that could impact this series. So as you know, the Punisher is a character that came about in the mid-70s. 1974 he was actually conceived in. That was when we got Amazing Spider-Man issue 129. Now, the Punisher is very much a character of his decade, in that he was the product of cinema from that era, the sort of gritty cinema that you got, the revenge stories that you got in film around that time. You know, this was big going into things like Dirty Harry and all this sort of stuff, and all that wealth of film came about in this era, and this is what made the Punisher what he was. So here's a character that was influenced heavily by cinema of the time, brought into comic books, and as cinema grew, developed, as tastes grew, and we got into that sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone kind of pumped up muscle era, so went the Punisher in the comics. He went from being a sort of tall, trim looking person, big but not overly big, you know. He became muscle bound and massive, like your Arnies and Stallones and this sort of thing. It took that sort of an aesthetic with the character. So again, the character heavily influenced by cinema of the 80s going into the 90s. Now, Punisher was big in the 80s, he was big in the 90s. He had 3 comic books going at one point. Actually, he had more than 3 comics, but he had ongoing. He had the Punisher War Journal, the Punisher War Zone. Beside that, you had Punisher 2099 come about. You had a series called the Punisher Armory, which was every few months. You had countless prestige format Punisher books, which were sort of square bound, one-off comics. He was guest appearing in everything, and like Marvel loved to do, they wrung this character for everything he was worth. They milked him. He was in everything until people got fed up with him, and away he disappeared, only to come back in series after series, and not to make a real dent again until Garth Ennis took over the character. Now, prior to Garth Ennis taking over the character, there was a 4-issue miniseries where the Punisher was an angel for like an angel. He was an angel. He had angel powers. He was like a demon slaying angel type thing with powers of heaven. He had a trench coat he could reach into and pull out his from heaven's armory any weapon he wanted, and all this stupid nonsense with this silly little symbol on his forehead that glowed and this sort of thing. Luckily, he didn't stay around. After that, there was another mini-series with him and Wolverine, and he was that version of the Punisher, but it wasn't played on as heavily as what it was in that 4-issue mini. And then Garth Ennis got hold of it and reset it back to what Punisher was. And thus, we had the Max era of the Punisher, which was the Punisher for an adult audience, which was fantastic. Along that time, obviously, over the eras, we got 3 Punisher films. We got 89, Dolph Lundgren, 2004, Thomas Jane, then about 2008, I think it was, with Ray Stevenson in the role. And then stuff happened. The Max run came to an end, and then we got series after series of different Punisher, and in good old Marvel fashion, like what they do now, they'll roll out about 20 issues of something, then cancel it to give you a new issue 1, up to about 20-25 issues, cancel it, give you a new issue 1, 20-25 issues, cancel it, give you a new issue 1, and it became a complete mess. And another story that we got was one called Frank Castle, where the Punisher was torn to shreds by Daken, who is the son of Wolverine in the comics, and Punisher was reassembled Frankenstein style by the League of Monsters, and it led to a year-long storyline that a lot of people really dislike for the Punisher, because it harks back to that Angel era of the comic. Yes. But me personally, Frank Castle, yes, badly conceived, bad idea for the character, but my God, it was one hell of a fun read. You know, the minute it happened, I knew that this was going to be for a limited time only, then the reset button will be hit. And happy I was. And this story played out nicely. It used characters like Michael Morbius and the Man-Thing, characters the Punisher would never have any dealings with, and it was good in that sense. And he had to find this stone that would bring back his mortalness and bring him back to life, essentially. Sounds stupid, I know it is stupid for the Punisher, but my God, it was fun, and I will stand by that. It was fun. The Angel stuff before that was garbage. It was rubbish. But now we're in an era of Punisher again, where funny things have happened. Yes. So the latest version of the Punisher is this here, right? But only he doesn't adorn this skull anymore. He adorns this. And he's a ninja. He's using ninja weapons. He's using swords and crap like this. Not a gun in sight. Not a gun in sight. Now, this has me worried for many a reason. Now, I can easily say, it's just a story. At the end of that, it will be reset. It will be reset and you'll get the regular Punisher back. And I really want to believe that. I really do. And I hope that I'm wrong, completely wrong in what I'm saying here, right? But the problem is, at the moment, is the Punisher has been turned into a symbol of something that he is not outside the realm of the comics and TV. The symbol of the Punisher is being utilised by police forces, the military, and even hate groups of individuals, right? They've taken the skull and they've turned it into something bad, essentially, something that you'll get in trouble for wearing one day yourself. Christ, I've got Punisher t-shirts with a skull on. I'm going to step outside and get hate because I'm wearing this because of what other people have taken it and used it for. And we've seen this in society before. It's happened. It has been done. You know, the biggest offender of it was the Nazi flag. That was actually a symbol of peace before the Nazis got hold of it and warped it into what they made it into. And now it's synonymous with them as opposed to what it meant before that. And this is what's happening here, right? So that's not good. Now, Marvel Comics have combated this themselves within the realm of the comic book. They have done an issue where Frank Castle has confronted police officers using his patch, using his symbol, and said to them, no, the symbol is the embodiment, the sign of a failed justice system. For Frank Castle, that's what it is. That's what it means to him. That's what it means to the character. It isn't the symbol of let's go out and kill everyone who's bad. It's a symbol of, it's reflective of a failed justice system. And that's where Frank Castle comes about. So it's been taken and warped by the military, by the police, and especially by these hate groups, right? So now Marvel are in a predicament that they cannot put the Punisher out wearing this costume, right? So we've had to redesign the skull into this nonsense here. This rubbish. Yes, there's been skull redesigns before. There always has been skull redesigns as the Punisher's gone through different variations and different artists and that. But it's always been the same. The skull is the same. It's just maybe shaped differently, but it's the same. Yeah? And there's some better than others. Yes, there are. But this is a complete redesign. Now, what worries me with the comics and what the fears that I have that Marvel are attempting to change this character comes from a one-off issue that they done with this called the Punisher War Journal, which was a one-off story set within the context of this current run. Now, I know what's happened in issue 4 of this comic series. I know, or is it issue 5, the one where Punisher decapitates the head of the clan and gets Maria to go with him, his wife, and run off. Now, I know what happens at the end of that, and it looks like a turning point in the story for the character. This has been filmed before we find out the events of that after. So, you know, it could go a good way. But what worried me is in that one-off issue, if you remember it, you've got a story in the current timeline, then you've got flashbacks to a previous story where Frank Castle is the standard Punisher. He is the Punisher without the swords, without what he does with the ninjas. He's the proper Frank Castle. Only in that story, he doesn't pick up a weapon. He uses a knife all the way through. He doesn't use a gun in any way, shape or form. And that is worrying. And why is that worrying? Because I honestly believe that Disney do not want to put a gun into the hands of its heroes. Yes, I know Punisher is an anti-hero, but they do not want to put a gun into the hand of its heroes. Much like how iPhone don't want a bad guy using one of their products. Only good people are allowed to use them. Guns, you'll be finding that bad people are allowed to use guns, good people aren't. They have to find another way to fight in them. And this is how I perceive the Punisher going. Now, in this very issue, like I said, it stood out to me, it screamed at me that here's the original Punisher and here's no weapon being used. And then in the current storyline within that very issue, the Punisher does pick up a grenade launcher and uses it. So he does sort of go to a bit of an armory. But the only difference here is that this armory, this grenade launcher wasn't firing a grenade. It was firing a makeshift, a fake storytelling grenade that had pin particles in it. So whatever it hit, it would enlarge, this sort of thing, right? So again, it screams, we'll only put in the hands of the Punisher fictitious kind of weaponry, much harking back to the Angel stuff where he pulled the guns out of Angel's armory and had these funny looking guns that just don't look right. So you've got the same thing there. Yes. Now, so that's my concerns with the Punisher and the Punisher moving forward. So I don't know if Disney are happy to reset and go back and give you a Punisher that is full on, guns a-blazing. I don't think they are, but I truly hope that I am wrong with the next issue and the next few issues. And I want to see that reset button being hit within the realms of the comics. Of course I do. That's who the Punisher is. The Punisher is someone with guns, not someone with swords. If you want to do that, just create another character and leave the Punisher be. Let him die in dignity. Right? I don't want to read the crap that's coming now in these comics. And these are crap. These are crap. If you know the Punisher, you know that these are crap. Now, on to this rumours about Jon Bernthal returning as the Punisher. Now, yes, the Netflix stuff had its moments. It was good. It's like I said, it's not my favourite iteration of the Punisher, but that's a completely different story. It is the Punisher, and I supported it, and I supported him in season 2 of Daredevil, and it was fantastic to get him on the scene. Jon Bernthal, again, not my favourite actor to play the Punisher. There are mistakes that are made in every Punisher live action film, and that's a video for me to do in the future that I will get around to doing. But now, Jon Bernthal in the Punisher. Now, if Disney progress with a Disney Plus series of the Punisher, how are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? Now, I'm still going to label this under the rumour, you know, the heading of rumour. I don't know if it's true that Disney, I know there's talk about it, but until we get official announcement that the Punisher is coming back with John Bernthal, are they going to give him guns? Or will they find him using another way of doing stuff? And this is what concerns me. Part of me says, no, you can't do that. They're not going to do that. They have to give you the Punisher as the Punisher is. But do they want him wearing this logo? Will they reduce the use of the logo? Will they put him in normal attire and maybe the logo be small? Kind of like what the Lundgren film done, you know? I don't know, but the alarm bells are ringing in my head, and I am extremely worried for the future of this character. I think this character, as I said in the title, has been castrated left, right and centre by Disney. They don't want this character out there doing what he does because of the real world implications of that skull logo and what it's been used for now, because of the way it's been taken. It's been abused, it's been manipulated into meaning something that it doesn't mean. Disney ain't going to want that, you know, and I can understand Disney not wanting its heroes to be running around with guns, with live guns, shooting at people and taking out bad people like that because of the current gun climate that you have in the United States. It's a bad place to be in that respect. You know, with the school shootings and all this sort of stuff, do they want to glamorise this sort of weaponry? So this goes into the psychology of, let's make it that the bad guys are allowed to use them, but the good guys aren't. Let's have the good guys doing it another way. And this is what the current Punisher comic is doing. This character's being ruined in front of our eyes. This character's is being lessened. It's being weakened as each issue passes by. And my God, like I said, I hope that I am wrong. I truly do. But I don't know. It's what I see. It's what I perceive the future to be for the Punisher. Comics, TV, film. This is how it's going to be. The best days of this character are behind us. You know, at the moment, I'm wanting to go back and read the classics. I want to work my way through the classics up to, well, now. COVID is where it fell apart. Before COVID, you've had such a big break for this character over COVID. His last series was Soviet, I think it was, Punisher Soviet. It was meant to be another Garth Ennis one come after that. It never came to be because COVID struck and it sort of ended everything for the Punisher until just recently, a few months ago, with this new series coming about and his appearance in the sort of Daredevil Elektra stuff that they done. I don't know. This isn't Frank Castle to me. What they've done here, this isn't Frank Castle anymore. That's Frank Castle. This isn't. This is someone else. But I'm hoping that it reverts back to this. This is what I want. This is what we want. This is what Punisher fans want. Anyone who says this is a perfect way to go for the character, you've got no idea who this character is, I'm telling you. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I love talking Punisher, I really do, but at the moment it's a very frustrating time for me and this character. I will always love the character. I always love where he's been and what he's done prior to now. But if this is the future, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I've said, I've worked through the bad before, a lot of bad. But it's been fleeting. It's been fleeting. There's something feels different about this. Can you feel it? Can you feel the difference? Because, you know, you can say it is just a story that at the end, the reset button, but the climate out there is different. The climate in the world is different. The people who own the Punisher are different. I don't know what's going to happen, and we're going to have to just wait and see and ride this one out. But anyway, that's it. I'm done. I've had my little rant, my little chat about the Punisher, the future, my future concerns, and all that sort of stuff. I do hope we get another series. I really do. And I hope the comic reverts back. And I hope that I'm worried about nothing. Maybe I'm just worried in my old age. Tell me your thoughts down below in the comments section. Do you feel that the Punisher's been weakened as a character? Nay, that he's been castrated. Like I said in the title, the continued castration of Frank Castle. Let me know. Hit the subscribe button, come and join the channel. I will be producing other Punisher content within the confines of the channel. It's not Punisher related, obviously. It's film related, it's comic book related, but the Punisher is my #1 comic book and always has been and always will be. My comic collecting lives and dies with this character. I'm telling you. Anyway, this is AJ. Again, thank you. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you all later. Take care all and goodbye.